Hello.
Hey,
I see
Lori.
Lori. Hi, Lori. How you doing? How you doing? How's everybody doing tonight?
Well, like
Lori,
every day, like
I
why does
told
every day have to be an oh my god day?
I told you, Lori. I told you, like, I think it was earlier last week. But
Going to war.
mm-hmm. Trying to stay grounded. Do I have thoughts? Do I have thoughts? We have an entire administration ran by drunks, drug addicts, and people that are not even qualified to be freaking dog catcher dragging us into a war.
Grocery bag boys.
Grocery
Head
bag
of, head
boys,
of
a Fox
Homeland
News
Security.
host, a Fox News host, a freaking Russian apologist, possibly operative, in Tulsi Gabbard, the WWE lady, and a Jewish
Alcoholic.
Nazi,
A
and
Jewish
and and
Nazi.
and old yam tits who doesn't know what day of the week it is, much less where he's at. Yeah. And they were,
Homeland Terrorism, a 22-year-old grocery bag boy. Yeah.
mm-mm.
And I knew, yesterday when he said it was successful, I'm like, no, it wasn't.
No, it
And it's
wasn't.
coming out today that it wasn't
It
successful.
was not successful. Everything they did. And now everybody is starting to scream for impeachment. I'm like, add that to the list of 85,764
And
freaking
JD Vance.
offenses that he's committed in 6 months.
JD Vance saying that he's the smartest president we've had in 35 years. He's doing what none of the other idiots would do. And it's like, okay, JD Vance, you just showed what an idiot you are if you think he's the smartest one in the room.
I
Oh my God.
can't.
Lawrence O'Donnell's been going on a tear calling Trump an idiot.
I mean, I've been seeing TikToks all over from MAGA on my For You page on TikTok. And I don't even know how I ended up on that side of TikTok, because TikTok, you don't select stuff, you just scroll, you
Yeah.
know, and they're all sitting there in their MAGA hats, screaming and begging him. There was one guy that was throwing a freaking fit because Trump hasn't done anything. And all he's offering us is a phone for $47.45 a month. Mind you, I have seen endless TikToks of people calling that number for the phones. It's not even a number that's in service, Jen. It doesn't even have service. So it's another goddamn grift. So this guy's like, I don't need another fucking bill. You promised us, blah, blah. Like he's going off down the list, and it's like, were you asleep the last time? Like, have you been asleep the last 8 years? Were you asleep the first term? Did you? What part did you not realize that all this guy does is just
I was laughing at this one commentator. He's like, yeah, let's wait and see how many of these young white boys that watched Tate and Charlie Kirk and people like that, let's see how many of them, how they feel when he puts a draft back in place and your ass is
and
drafted.
Think about that. Threw himself a military parade for his birthday. Usurped it, actually, because that was supposed to be, the Army had legit planned that out for years and years and years. And it wasn't just in DC, it was supposed to be all over the US. He canned all that stuff so he can have a military parade with squeaky tanks rolling down the street, while simultaneously trying to push a bill that guts VA and active duty military, calls them suckers and losers, and then, oh, by the way, I'm about to send you to war for a fucking draft dodger. Yeah. MAGA, here's your chance to go totally freaking patriotic and go defend your country. But I've been seeing all these
Joyce
videos.
will say Barron will have hereditary bone spurs.
Yeah, hereditary. I've been seeing all these TikTok videos, and it appears that MAGA is divided because a lot, even mind you, while ranting and throwing a complete hissy fit about him dragging us into a war after he promised he wasn't going to do that. They're still wearing their MAGA hats. And then there's the other portion of MAGA that just keeps moving the goalpost. Well, he said he wouldn't, but they twisted his arm. So now we have to. So we should all rally behind the president because that's the patriotic thing to do. It's like the goalposts are going to end up on, they're going to find the edge of the universe, these people, because they just keep moving them, you know?
So anybody that needs a good t-shirt for protests, the only dictator I accept is my cat. There's more protests July 4th, and I think the other one is July 17th. Might be wrong on that. Double check me.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, how you guys doing? I'm tired. I was telling Jenny if I seem like I'm in a bad mood, I'm just cranky because I'm
tired. Sleepy.
Yeah.
Yes, on July 17th. Thanks. Good Trouble protest July 17th. Yeah, if you'd like to schedule a reading with Jen Lynn, JenLynnTarot.com. Don't schedule a reading if you want me to pull some kind of miracle out of the cards or feed some narrative you're saying in your head. I've had a few issues lately with some people who want me to validate something that isn't there in the cards. And I'm an Aries. I'm going to tell you what I get. And if you can't handle that, then that's on you. Most of my readings are wonderful. I love the people I read for, but lately I've been getting some.
And I think what a lot of people miss too is that these are not fix-it cards.
Yeah, they're opportunity cards. When they're, and don't ask me to validate something some other psychic told you. Don't ask me to validate you have a hex on you. I don't believe in hexes. Get yourself a therapist.
Mm-hmm. I'm just tired.
No, I love reading for people. 99.999% of y'all are so much fun to read for. But this week was, and I guess this crazy energy, this past week has been a little bit crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Robin, Jen's reading for me next week. I can handle the truth. That you can, Robin. Hey, Autumn. You know, it's. I always tell people, like, a reading is to bring clarity and opportunity, make you aware of opportunities that may be coming up. Clarity on a situation. If you're looking for a job, I can see when there might be an opportunity for that coming up, but you have free will. You have to do something, right? If you don't do anything, then it's not going to happen.
It's kind of like people that, I want to manifest. What are you doing to help manifest? You can't just sit in your house, light a candle and pray and expect something to just fall into your lap. You have to go out there.
You have to watch for it. And you have to look for a job if you need a job. You have to, if your finances are tight, watch your finances while you're trying to manifest some funds coming in.
People that, I want to manifest a house. Meanwhile, they got no job. Their credit is shit. They have no money. How are you going to get a house, which is a huge expense, if you don't even have those top three things squared away? Do you see what I'm saying? It's just like...
You know what you have to get in order to manifest it.
Mm-hmm. So, anyhow.
And you have to pay attention to synchronicities and things that come up to when the universe is trying to bring something in. But as Johnie always says, we can't pull a miracle out of the cards.
How you doing, Johnie? A-okay? Me too. Me too.
It's so hot here. I know everybody's in that dome of heat wave across the country. Be careful because it is muggy hot. It is awful.
I will say this. If you can, and you're able to, fill up your tanks today at the latest after the show's over, and try to limit your traveling. I mean, because this asshole, not only has he destroyed tourism, and now he's gotten us into a war, which is going to make the gas prices skyrocket. And they're
blocking that canal or whatever where all the oil goes through.
Mm-hmm. And well, it hasn't been done yet, but they're discussing it. So get ready for gas prices to skyrocket. And also, I mean, we have a shrinking GDP. He's destroying our economy, and now he's getting us into an endless war while trying to gut all social safety nets. And tariffs. Let's not forget the tariffs, because nobody knows what he's going to do.
I love that at the protests, a lot of people are throwing glitter on the ice guys, and glitter shows up for days. Like, you can shampoo your hair, you're still pulling glitter out for days. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of marks them as ice.
Yeah, I was thank you, SW. I was in Los Angeles yesterday. And I'm here to tell you, all that bullshit that's been on the news is bullshit. Like, we're only an hour away from LA. I have family that lives in LA, and I called them and talked to them, and they're like, no, everything's fine. Like, we didn't even know there was shit going on. I did see a bunch of fuck ICE graffiti all over the place in downtown. But because I guess Dodger Stadium had tried to get into, or ICE tried to get into Dodger Stadium a few days ago. And Dodger Stadium said, yeah, no, go fuck yourself, because LA is, and it's, I cannot wait for the day that Stephen Miller is skinned alive in the public square. That nasty little freaking Hitler wannabe Jewish Nazi. The hatred on that man, because like Los Angeles is huge on a Hispanic community, and the Dodger franchise has an enormous Hispanic, fan base, and you're going to show up at fucking Dodger Stadium, which is enormous, by the way, to try to fucking hold a sting operation. There's no need for that. That's all for speculation and spectacle,
Stephen's from Santa Monica, and one of my favorite signs from the No Kings protests was in Santa Monica, where it said Stephen Miller can never come home. Like, they would race his ass out of there.
No,
I don't think his parents or anybody would want him home.
His parents hate him, and the funny thing is that he's from Santa Monica.
Yeah, he's from right there.
He's from right fucking there. And he's the biggest racist piece of fucking shit you will ever, from a Jewish family whose ancestor fled Germany. Like I said, I cannot wait to see him, like, literally skinned alive. And I'm not saying that in the metaphorical sense. No, I mean literally skin that motherfucker.
Drawn and quartered.
Yeah. Skin him alive, draw and quarter him, and if he's still alive, tar and feather that motherfucker. And if he's still alive, bring out the guillotine. Like, I've had it with that guy. He is so beyond disgusting as a human being. Like, anyways. So yeah, I was in LA. I was not happy. The traffic was fucking terrible, as it is, always is in Los Angeles, but whatever. But anywho, you got anything, Johnny? Nothing.
Is that Rexy sleeping behind you, Becca?
What?
Is that Rexy sleeping behind you on the sofa?
No, those are my pillows.
Oh, I see something dark. It's a throw. Okay.
Those are pillows over there. Hold on.
Or the seat of the sofa, is that a blanket or something? I thought Braxy was laying there. I just saw dark.
These are pillows. This is the blanket. So, yeah, she's not up there. Those are just pillows and blankets, but So, yeah. Anyways, I had done Trump's Grand Tableau June 1st, I think is when I went live with it. And Jennie texted me yesterday and she asked, did it show Trump going to war? And I said, yes. And then I realized I never discussed the line of fate.
I was like, no, she was like, I'll get to that later, and then didn't get back to it.
I didn't get back to it, but in the line of fate, it's whip, mountain, storks, and snake. Whip and mountain, attacking, fighting, mountain, enemy, fighting an enemy. And the early stages of a lot of trouble. It's at the beginning. So, but I never did the line of fate in the Grand Tableau. So,
what's so crazy, I mean, immediately, Trump didn't tell any Dems in the Gang of Eight. He only told the Republicans. I would have thought Thune and the Senate might have had the courtesy to tell the Dems what was going on, but he didn't. Thank you, Chio.
No, Jen. No. Why would he? He's the fucking king now.
It's like they were breaking their even MTG that was like no war is coming out and
I don't believe that. I don't believe that horse skank for 1 minute. And you know why?
She's coming out in support of it. It's like they're just so quick to appease.
You know why? Because she's up for re-election. She's only looking out for her own fucking ass. So, and that's why would he tell Democrats? Did you see that thing he's trying to do via executive order for the VA to deny treatment to Democrats? It's like, where in your fucking questionnaire when you go to see a doctor does it ask you for your political affiliation? Yeah. Because that has nothing to do with your health.
He would like to deport all the Democrats, I think. That would be his agenda. It's like
I will gladly
take them all out, have them all arrested in Congress and everything.
I will gladly go to Canada. And then when all the Republicans are shit poor, dying of fucking starvation, dying of illness, and have no goddamn money, you ain't got nobody else to blame because the Democrats, you all shipped us all out. So, have fun with that. But anyway.
The only thing I can see that the Dems can do in the House and Senate is try to build a coalition across the aisle.
I told you.
Impeach his ass. That's the only thing they can do because they don't have the power.
When we were texting yesterday, I told you in that text message, I said, I don't know why it is such a difficult concept for Hakeem Jeffries to pull a coalition and vacate the chair with the fucking little Weasley motherfucker, Moses Mike, get him the fuck out of there. Get a fucking regular, sane Republican, and then bring papers to the floor, impeach, and then when it gets to the Senate, put pressure on those motherfuckers to convict.
I'm just not sure that there's anybody that's sane anymore.
I don't understand why that is such a difficult concept for Hakeem Jeffries instead of holding a press con. Oh, there's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. Send us more money. We'll have money for the midterms, but there's nothing we can do. Why is it so difficult to try to build a coalition? You cannot tell me Moses Mike has a stranglehold on the entire Republican Party in the House. He doesn't. I mean, dear God. Anyways,
but yeah, like they're all in alignment for having a dictator. That's all it is now.
Yeah, but hey, make sure to donate so we have money for the midterms. All the while ignoring the fact that we're right now under a coup d'etat because he did not win that fucking election. And if you guys have not been closely following Dr. What's his name? Dr. Mabeen from the University of Michigan, and Election Truth Alliance, and also Smart Elections and all their findings, the anomalies are off the charts. So, and I just posted a video to my community page the other day from the girl that used to be on the Midas Touch, and they booted her because she was denying the election. We have a president right now, a criminal, who, when he was found guilty and had to pay E. Jean Carroll, did he back off? No. He kept defaming her and 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 over and over and over and over and over again. When he was being brought up on trial in New York, he went after Judge Merchan and threatened him over and 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 over until he was threatened with jail. And then he pivoted and started going after the fucking clerk. And then he started going after his daughter. This is a person that it does, unless you put him in prison and sew his fucking lips shut, he will double down, triple down, he does not learn. So what would make any sane person know, especially with all this shit that we saw happen with Sidney Powell and the freaking ninjas or whatever, cyber ninjas and Tina Peters and everybody getting rounded up and go, what would make you think that after he staged a coup d'etat and failed, when his literal liberty was on the line because he was pending 3 more felony trials, two federal and 1 state, what the hell would make you think that he wouldn't do it again based solely on his track record? And to sit there and go, no, it was free and fair is fucking insanity. Like,
when he told us 6 months before, I don't need your votes. You know, he tells on himself. You know, and since then has said, you know, it was rigged. You know, yay, I'm the president. We rigged it.
And here's another thing. It's like right now, this is not, we did not vote for this. He had another coup d'etat because he was not held fucking accountable for the first one. You know, so it's like, we'll get him during the election. We'll get him during the midterms. I have serious doubts about the midterms. If you don't fucking clean this shit up, forget it, because he told you you'll never have to vote again. Welcome to Russia.
He doesn't need Musk again because he's got Palantir, which was in on it.
Yep.
Can we start here, Becca? Can we ask, are there any Republicans in Congress that do not like what he did yesterday, that would impeach him? Are there any Republicans in Congress?
So are any Republicans opposed to Trump bombing Iran without congressional approval?
Even one? Is there one?
And then you have all the crazies that are all in for it because they want to bring in the end of time. So for Jesus' second coming, to which I say, motherfuckers, go to Israel and go wait outside. And hopefully when a bomb falls on your goddamn head, you'll be wondering if that was Jesus. It's one good way to get rid of these people. It's a small group.
It's very small. It's maybe 3 that are turning their backs on him, that feel backstabbed by this. They're holding it close to their chest. They can't talk about it. It may grow. So if they start some diplomacy with them, that may grow. But most of them, it's like this is just treachery. The movement forward is just to show strength. I'm getting in support of loser Trump. Most of them are protecting him in the White House. It's a power thing.
Yeah, I saw that. Thomas Massey was one of the ones that came out and said this is unconstitutional. Well, what the fuck do you think is? You have Mike Johnson that has gladly handed over all powers of the Congress to the executive and say, we're just here to collect a paycheck, really, at this point.
Quoting the Bible and stuff.
Well, we can't impeach him because, I mean...
This is revelation that Moses might.
You know, it's just whatever. What did you get, Johnny?
Yes, there's possibly 3. There's a man and a woman and a judge of some sort there. It is growing, but it's small. But at the same time, what does it matter? This is why I said in the live stream I did the other day, we have to stop with the word. He can't do that because it's illegal. He can't do any of this, but he
doesn't care.
And you know,
Who's going to stop him?
Have you noticed that the only time the Constitution matters is when the Democrats are in office? Because when the Republicans have it, do whatever the fuck you want. We don't care. Trump wants to be king. You know what? Let's write a bill that says that you can. Here, Trump, here, make yourself king. To hell with the Constitution. To hell with it. We don't care, even though we all know that that's not how it works. I get that it's a small group. There's division, and the division is becoming a little bit more wider. It's in the early stages, but it's a small group, which I would think that it would be larger based on districts where people are at, but it says that it's small. So
it was interesting because they flew the Doomsday plane from I think it was in Louisiana somewhere. They flew it up to DC before the bombings, and the Doomsday plane is the plane for like the president, which you can control nukes and everything, and it can stay airborne for like 35 hours or something crazy. But that's sitting in DC now, just in case they decide to attack the White House or something. It's like,
hey,
they know where you live.
Hey,
for entertainment purposes only.
Hey, Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago.
Mar-a-Lago.
Okay, Mar-a-Lago. Let me say that again. Mar-a-Lago. Leave the rest of us alone. Take the freaking old yam tits out.
Well,
I'm tired.
He's already torn up the rose garden again, even more. He's putting a patio on it or whatever. It's like, I'd be okay with letting the White House go if it gets rid of him.
Jesus Christ. I can't with this guy. I really can't. So, MAGA. How are they feeling about this war?
They're kind of all over the place. Some are like, go, go, go. And others, and believing everything he says, like, oh, it was a success.
And what's interesting, did you see that interview with Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz? I'm not here to whitewash Tucker Carlson or Ted Cruz. Those are both pieces of shits that are currently fighting it out to see who's the bigger, smellier piece of shit. But that was gold. That was gold. That was gold. So how does MAGA feel about the war?
Promise, no more wars.
If we'll go, she'll send us into World War III. And here he is. Old yam tit strikes again.
Even older MAGA, it's like your kids and grandkids, they're the ones going to get scooped up in it. Good. Especially if they're white, because he's trying to kick everybody of color out of the military. No transgender, no gay. So, yeah, you young white men, no women.
Good. And
no women in combat.
Here's the thing. I was deployed twice for bullshit out of Netanyahu's mouth. Weapons of mass destruction. He's been screaming that since the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
He only helped this moron get into office because he knew that he could dog walk the bitch by the nose. That's the only reason why he did it now, because he knew that he can get Trump to go along with it. So when they start pulling this weapons of mass destruction, I'm like, I'm old enough to remember when I was deployed for that bullshit. I'm old enough to remember when I was deployed for that bullshit. And here we are doing it again 20 years later so that we can get stuck in another war that, mind you, Israel isn't paying. That's us paying for that war. That's us, American lives.
We're sending billions to Israel every year.
So where's Doe's? Where's
Amy Duckworth? Senator Duckworth, one of my senators here, is just spitting nails. She is so mad. She lost her legs in the last war.
So how does MAGA feel about the war? Mind you, old yam tits couldn't find Iran on a map even if it was labeled. Because we all know he's a functioning fucking illiterate. too while we're at it, you know?
Some of them are moving on. They're getting a different perspective because that was one of his promises, to Republicans that, no more wars. Some of them are moving on. It's like, they see what's going on with the finances and that all the problems that they're having, Trump is laying low on. Here's Trump. That he's not helping with their problems. So, returning us into war and blowing things up, they feel backstabbed by the government. Confused. It's not all of them. Some of them come together for him. Some of them think he was being sneaky.
I don't think that. I did this reading the other day, and I did see also in whatever read I was doing that there is some building that does get hit by something, and it's the 4 wands. It's the card we use for the White House, but that doesn't mean it always has to be the White House. So he started a conflict. Of course, there's going to be retaliation. But I got the Lovers and the 4 Swords, the first 2 cards, so it doesn't seem as though they're ready to just jump ship just yet. Maybe the 4 Swords is a retreat and sort of taking it all in. So they may see where this goes. You know where this goes. But anyway, the Emperor and the Ace of Wands, they believe the bluster. This is the same man that convinced them to eat dirt. Drink horse tranquilizers. This is the same person he made $10 million selling shoes and watches. He's trying to sell a phone that's not even his. His name is just tacked on it. So they'll believe what he says. There's the emperor, the man, and he exerts his power. But there's the devil and the chariot. This is not a natural thing. This is a cult. So they're sort of brainwashed. If they thought about it, they would leave his side. But thinking is it's easier to be fooled than it is to convince a person that they're being fooled. And so to go up to them and says he has a power over you or an occult and all this type of stuff, then we're the crazy ones because you just don't like him because he's better than Obama and all that. They always have a reason. So it's very hard to shake them from Donald Trump because they believe the lies he's telling for right now. So I don't see a separation just yet.
And it's not just they believe it, Johnny. They don't even bother to look. Because I've seen so many interviews of MAGA complaining about how bad the Democrats are and how messed up their taxes are. And they'll ask him, whose tax plan are we under? Oh, it's Biden's. He's like, no, it's Trump's tax plan, which is in effect till next year. Oh, no,
like that's not right. People. Who pays the tariffs? China pays the tariffs.
Yeah, it's all they have to do is look. But it's like, you know what? I get the birds, fox, clouds, clover, child. There's a lot of talk, a lot of chit chat. Maybe it's text messages or in chat rooms, somewhere where there's a lot of chatter. People talking. They're very suspicious and very, very doubtful about why this is happening. And they think that he's getting played by someone that is smaller, that should not be trustworthy. And it's out of self-interest. So answer me this. If he's playing 3D chess, then why is he getting led around by the nose by Netanyahu? Maybe he's not playing chess at all. Maybe he's eating the pieces because he thinks that they're fucking Oreos. Just admit it. Just admit it. The guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. But they're suspicious about it. They're talking about it. They're confused. They see it as self-serving opportunity and getting played by someone that is smaller. There's also perhaps a section of it that are deluding themselves and looking for a new opportunity, a new chance. And they're saying in the chat, just what he did the other day cost us $6 billion. $6 billion fucking dollars. Yet prices of eggs are still high. Gas is about to skyrocket. Your health insurance hasn't gotten better. If anything, it got more expensive. You haven't gotten a raise. I mean, it's. But yeah, so that's what I get. So all of the podsters, which I don't trust, like Candace Owens, she carried water for that fool for how many years, Johnny? And now she's finally coming out against MAGA. Same with Tucker Carlson. You know it's bad. You know it's bad when I'm agreeing with Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon, of all people. Steve Bannon came out and said that this whole situation is fucked and that we're being Israel's bitch right now.
But that's where it seems to be coming from, is the talking heads. Like the regular run-of-the-mill people, they still got their hat on. But their media is the one that's going to change their perception. It's either going to be Fox News or it's going to be somewhere, at least in that stratosphere. Tucker Carlson's not on Fox News anymore, right? Like they still follow him, but they would rather follow the Jesse Waters type of people because they're the primetime people. So those are the ones that are going to have to come out and say, yeah, this is not very good.
It's just, I don't trust those people because they'll flip on a dime wherever the money's going. Mm-hmm. You know, and Candace Owens, I don't care if she's trying to rehabilitate her image. You carried water long enough that there is no self-respecting person that would ever believe anything that you're saying is honest and true. You know, but so all the talking heads are and Joe Rogan, yeah, Joe Rogan was another one. You know, but whatever.
The heads are exploding.
You know, and then all these people, nobody showed up at his parade. Well, it's kind of hard for bots to leave the internet to go show up in person.
Yeah.
Because they're not real.
He doesn't have that many loyal followers.
It's all online and it's all bots and bots.
And his parade was where?
It was in DC.
And how many of his supporters lived there? You have to get a hotel and a plane ticket and you have to get yourself there. This is a trip that these people had to make in the middle of the year when they have to do everything else. Mind you, a lot of them just paid taxes. So they didn't have money to come to your parade.
But they did it for January 6th.
Yes, because they want it to be violent. Yeah. I don't want to go sit in the rain looking at no tanks.
They don't want it to be cheerful. They want to be violent.
And the thing is, they were saying that he had 10,000. No fucking way. No effing way. I would be surprised if it was 2,500. Yeah. Then reports came out that it was like 8,000 something. I'm like, that number is still too high because I saw all them pictures and it was empty, like empty.
And it was only for like maybe a block and a half that they were spread out across. It wasn't like the whole parade route.
And a lot of people, some people that showed up for the actual military, not Trump. They came, they saw the military, and then they left. That was it, you know? So I don't know what percentage was that, but then the rest of them are the MAGA cultists that, I mean.
I appreciate that the powers that be are letting us, throughout these past 16 years, watch him be humiliated event after event after event and all these different, but you step it up a little bit.
Yeah, we can do that. We can have 0 people showing up.
Right now, in the past 24 hours, 8 people have been struck by lightning. That's all I'm going to say, and I'll leave it at that.
8 people have been struck by lightning?
Yes, it's a weird phenomenon right now in the past 24 hours. That's all I'm saying.
Can we take him outside with one of those umbrellas with like the 3 inches of
take him on one of his little field trips, let him go wash a dump truck or something at the McDonald's parking lot, whatever it is he wants to do. That's all I'm saying.
There's a whole group of people too that are boycotting McDonald's, so because Trump loves his McDonald's, always bragging about them. So now they're starting to get hit in the wallet.
Mm-hmm. So there's more calls to impeach. Add it to the list of 87,000 offenses. impeachable offenses he's already committed. I'm going to sit this one out because of this, but will they impeach him? I can't believe 8 people got struck by lightning.
I'm going to add to it, impeach and remove.
Yeah, because we can impeach him till the cows come home. They need to impeach and convict the motherfucker. Convict. But
add to his convictions.
Mm-hmm.
34-time convicted felon.
And mind you, he still has all those other cases. They never went away. They're on hold. So that's what, 70-something cases? 60-something
He had like 91 indictments in total, I think.
So we're looking at what, 50-something charges that he's still pending right now? They weren't dismissed and thrown out. They were dismissed without prejudice, meaning, okay, we're going to set this aside and we're going to come back to it because we got you dead to rights.
I've asked this question 3 times, and believe it or not, I get the same card.
Really?
Time. I'm not smart enough to figure out what it means. I mean, I figured it out kind of, I think, but I think I was reaching too, maybe because that's what I want to see. I had the 7 of Pentacles. I did a live stream the other day. That's the card that flew out too. 7 of Pentacles is wait and see. This is the harvest. It has a date though. Like if you plant apple seeds as an experienced farmer, you know when they're going to come up, that type of thing. So the date is written down somewhere. So it might be in his chart or something like that. But when he falls from power, it's written down somewhere. We just have to wait. I'm going to say no, though, because I don't ever see a path to impeaching and removing with people who have enabled him to start a war and bankrupt the country. So I say no.
Yes, but only if America comes out in abundance. So massive, massive protests, massive, and doesn't let him get away with this attack. And here he is crowning the reading. If our disdain for him and what he's done is massively represented, in other words, the crowds get even bigger than No King's Day. Thank you, Janine. Victory on this, doing it again. So getting the votes, steady votes. And then I get a lot of people finally turning their back on him, getting just enough votes to support this. And I do get kicking him out. But it will take massive amounts of Americans letting these Congress people know we don't stand for this. We don't want this. We don't want anything he's done in the first 6 months. Nothing.
I agree with Rita in the chat who is saying, because technically the reason he's there is because of a coup d'etat, his second one.
Yeah.
So if the Supreme Court says, well, there's nothing we can do, then the Supreme Court is basically rubber stamping coup d'etats.
We've been in constitutional crisis since the day he took the oath. And he's, to Johnny's point, like, he doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care. He doesn't follow what judges order, nothing. He doesn't care. He's going to do his own thing.
And here's the thing. Why did you even bother going through the whole ceremony of making him take an oath when the motherfucker broke it the first time?
When he doesn't even understand what's in the Constitution, he doesn't care. Like, even if he knows it's in there, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. And
he's going to do what he wants to do.
He broke it the first time. He broke it the first time. Why did you even bother? Why did you even bother? But anyways. So there's a Republican congresswoman in Florida. In Florida, not federal, not in Washington. She's in Florida, who voted for the draconian abortion laws in Florida. The 6-week heartbeat bill, which is bullshit because there is no heartbeat at 6 weeks. But anyways, she is now suffering from an ectopic pregnancy, and she was denied care. And now she's trying to blame Democrats.
For something she voted for.
For something she voted for. And now but you know what? I love it. I love this for her. Welcome to the consequences of your fucking actions. And I hope you have the same level of treatment that every other woman in Florida has had to go through because of you and because of people like you. So
and a lot of people can't afford to go to another state to
no. And a lot of these Republican states are trying to make it illegal for women to leave the state to get care, or
trying to
prosecute them when they come back to the state.
Yeah, Texas is still trying to get the doctor in New York extradited down to Texas for performing one on a Texas. Or no, he provided the morning after pill for.
So I want to know, will she have a change of heart with these abortion bans in Florida? By the looks of it,
blaming the Dems.
Yeah, she's blaming the Dems, but it's one thing to blame the Dems and it's another thing to know your situation. Yeah. You know?
It's if you can't hold yourself accountable and you're still blaming everybody else, that's just narcissism. That's just they're very unlikely to change. Got to blame everybody else.
Don't come at me with clutching pearls. Oh my God, that's so mean. No. This is what you put on the menu, and this is what you're subjecting every woman in the state of Florida to. You set the table, eat the fuck up. No, no. You're not special. Yeah, they can't. And ectopic pregnancies, they'll kill you. They will kill you.
Nope. She mulled it over for about 2 seconds. She's going to find a doctor out of state. She's going to continue to get away with these lies and everything that she's telling. That's going to be her messaging, and she's going to try to grow that message that it's the Dems' fault. But, victory for all of the Trump and Republican people. She's going to be protecting them. Live with that woman.
Mm-hmm. I hope that she has the same situation that every other woman in Florida has had with that. Because it's one thing for you to dish it out to others, and another thing when the same thing happens to you. So I hope she gets the exact same thing every other woman in Florida that has had this situation happen to her.
Anyway. I don't think she has a change of heart, because I think her problem is not. It's in her head. Because there's a mentality you have to have in order to vote for such a thing, in order to want such a thing for other people. Like that's almost inflicting. I mean, it is inflicting at that point. Because I get the fool first. No, she's not connecting things. And 5 of Pentacles means that this situation health-wise is actually going to be worse than she anticipated. Because I get the Wheel of Fortune, so it's in time something is going to be very wrong. She may even have to search for alternatives to have children or something of that. I mean, there's something else that's coming along with this, and it's a permanent thing, or it's a thing that develops over time when it comes to health, but it's going in the wrong direction. But then there is the Hangman, which would be kind of a change of heart, because it's a perspective change, but it comes with the Page of Swords and the 9 of Cups. So there's something in her head that says it can magically change. So this is either faith-based, or this is you believe it can change because you can pay somebody, King of Pentacles, to change it for you. So use your resources and your means that other people don't have in means to fix your situation. But I don't see change of heart. She didn't care about anybody but herself, which, not surprising, but that's not a change of heart. I think she's only going to wake up a little bit once her health starts to deteriorate.
They can't force her to carry it like they did the lady in Georgia that just.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that one too.
Even though it's ectopic, shame they can't force her to burst her fallopian tubes.
So I get the scythe, the birds, the child, tower, and man. So there's the surgery or something that ruptures. Conversations about kids or children. Surgery, conversation, children. Ultimately, it stands with the law and a man. So no, she will not have a change of heart. She won't. The law will stand with the way that it was written by a man in Florida. So here's the conversation and surgeries and stuff about kids. Wait. Surgery, talking, children, law, man. No. So things are going to get kind of gross here. If you are sensitive, I would click out now, because this is about to get... Anyways, there's your warning. Don't come at me later, keyboard warriors. I can't believe it. No, I'm telling you right now. There was a woman in Georgia, Adriana Smith, who was having headaches and headaches and headaches and really bad headaches, and went to the doctor, misdiagnosis, sent her home. I believe she ended up having an aneurysm or something.
Yeah, she went to several hospitals and couldn't get care also.
She passed away, and she was declared brain dead by the hospital in Georgia. The hospital in Georgia forced the family to keep that woman on life support because she was 6 weeks pregnant or something at the time. Okay. The hospital forced the family to keep that woman on life support because she was pregnant and because of Georgia's draconian anti-abortion heartbeat bill bullshit laws. Okay. So, mind you, 9 weeks. Thank you, Phyllis. When the young woman died, she left behind a little boy. She already had a son. So now the son is sitting there watching his mom in the hospital, who's dead. She's dead. She's only hooked up to machines so that they can harvest a fucking human out of her. They were using her as an incubator in death. And that whole thing went on for months. I'm telling you, months, and back and forth. And the hospital saying that no, it's because it's the Georgia laws, and Georgia saying, yep, that's the law, but no, not really, because it's too gray, yada yada. They finally pulled the plug on her this last week, on her birthday. On her birthday, they pulled the plug, and I'm sick and tired of seeing these fucking reports. Brain dead woman gave birth.
No,
do you realize how fucking that is? Brain dead woman gives birth. How are you giving birth if you're brain dead? No, they extracted a fetus out of a fucking corpse is what they did, because that baby was brought into this world at 1 pound and 13 ounces. And then that baby was also put in NICU because it was not a viable fetus. There's reports that the baby, it's a medical term. It starts with an A. I can't pronounce it, where the skull and the brain are not fully developed. So and I hate to sound like a fucking asshole, but I hope that baby goes with his mama. I really do. I really, really do. Because there's no way that the grandparents are going to be able to support that kid for the rest of his life if those things, he has those health issues.
And also, they're going to charge the family all kinds of money.
Yeah, they're on the hook. They're on the fucking hook for all the medical bills. They kept her on life support without the parents' consent. It was in her paperwork that if she dies, do not resuscitate. So even in death, they went against her fucking wishes and the wishes of the family, so they can use her as a fucking incubator to take out a fucking baby who is now himself in NICU with a partial fucking brain and a partial skull. How anybody can sit there and say, yay, we're doing the Lord's work is fucking sick. It's sick. There you go. I can't pronounce it, innocent potato.
Syphilis.
It's that. It's where the head and the brain. What is it?
Anencephaly.
Anencephaly. The brain and the skull are not fully developed. So you're talking a super preemie baby at 1 pound, 13 ounces. And then all the drugs that they gave Adriana, the reason they took the baby out was because she was starting to decompose. So all those drugs, and imagine that baby while it's developing inside the mother, didn't know his mom. He knew machines that were keeping her somewhat functioning so that he can be intubated. And now, after all this shit, now the Attorney General in Georgia is coming out saying, yeah, no, there's no reason the hospital should have done that. It's in the law. That's not applicable here. I'm like, you know what? We're past lawsuits. Hold every single one of these motherfuckers criminally liable for what they did to that woman. That is beyond the pale, what they've done to that family and that woman in death. No dignity even in death. You know, like, it's just, I'm beyond pissed, but I want to know, because the AG is backtracking now, saying there's nothing in the law that said that hospital had to keep her on life support. And the hospital saying, the fuck there isn't. It's right here.
You told us.
You told us.
Like,
so when the AG is coming out and backpedaling, you know it's fucking bad. You know it's bad. So I want to know, and I can't pronounce that word, is not compatible with life. They're fucking monsters, Jen. They're monsters. They're fucking monsters. We're talking people who deny science. Every day they deny science until, let's save a life. Let's see if we can grow a human inside a fucking corpse.
They're not just monsters. They don't care. It's all about their agenda and their religion, their way. They
are monsters. I don't give a fuck what God you pray to. What you just did is unconscionable. You are a fucking monster. You are harvesting a child and forcing it to see. You're using that woman as a science experiment to see if you can harvest a fetus in a fucking corpse. What the hell what did they think would happen when the woman is dead?
The state pressured the hospitals not to let babies die. So
the body is not reproducing cells. It's not producing the hormones that child needs from the mother. There's a whole shit ton of stuff that's not happening biologically.
How are we asking this question? Is the state going to be found at fault or sued, or the hospital, or what?
Is the state, because now the AG is coming out backpedaling like a motherfucker. Hospital. You know it's bad when the AG is like, And I'm sorry that got a little bit gross, you guys, but it's just something that, if it were up to me, I'd hang all these motherfuckers. I would hang them. Yeah, well, they cancel medical research grants, but hey, let's go see if we can harvest a fetus out of a corpse. Yeah, she was a nurse. And you know what? They did this in The Handmaid's Tale too. In the show The Handmaid's Tale, because I was seeing it all over Twitter and people started posting the episode on Twitter. I think it was like season 2, episode 9 or something like that, where they literally had a dead woman and they kept her on life support to harvest a baby. I was like, oh my God, this is true dystopian bullshit. Like, that was meant to be a book of fiction, not a goddamn manual, instruction manual, you know?
Going to be legal problems over this, but cards falling to the floor.
And you got to love this shit with states' rights. The Supreme Court basically gave states to deny women their constitutional protections is what they did. Because it's funny how a woman won't have part of her 14th Amendment in the state of Georgia and Florida and Texas and a bunch of other states, but then you go another state. So you're giving the states authority to violate your constitutional fucking rights. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Because I don't get it. I don't get it.
This death that they're putting on the doctor, basically backstabbing the doctor and manipulating and causing blocking of, doing abortions or causing indecisions or whatever. They're just going to talk circles around it. Now, I do get that this will break down and bring out something new. A lot of burden to the Republicans, so whether they vote some of them out, but they're constricted by the law. That's what's coming out. So they kind of get away with it. I don't get a court. I don't get a judge. I don't get like a change. The only change is if you burden the crap out of the Republicans, get them out of there, don't accept what they offer, and change the law.
Yeah, Bridget, it was Baby Chance. That's what they named him, Baby Chance. And I don't mean to sound heartless, but I hope that baby goes with his mama, because the life ahead of him, if he does make it, when grandma and grandpa are gone, he's fucked. Because the Republicans are showing you that they have no interest. They forced this. And when that child grows up to be an adult with the problems that he has, look at what's in the big, beautiful bill. No Medicare, no Social Security, no Medicaid, no housing assistance, no nothing. So they're creating an entire generation of people that are going to be the product of rape and incest, unwanted babies that are going to end up in the system, or children that are going to end up with serious health problems because women were not given the right to terminate the pregnancy. And then when they're adults, well, go fuck yourself. Anyways, I'm sorry. It's just something that gets me heated because it's never crossed my mind. These people commit the greatest, most horrific sins defending their religious beliefs. It's insanity to me. It's insanity.
I don't get the lawsuit because I get that one side wants to blame the other. There is a man here, I'm assuming AG, and then there is a hospital going back and forth. The Chariot and the Five of Pentacles, though, because this is basically hanging over, waiting for one of them to fall, and then this situation will rest on the shoulders of whoever is left. Because there's Temperance and the Ten of Wands, so the hospital is going to have some sort of burden too. There is a religious leader, speaking of which, that gets involved as well. So this may be a galvanizing the community type of thing. This is going to be a bigger thing, especially when it comes to like aid for the family. And so this is going to be a bigger thing. This is going to involve protests or some sort of some sort of church and church leader comes forth with the spirituality card and the lover's card with it. So, and the 2 of cups with it. So the family will have some means to fight for whoever is getting the burden. And I think it'll be both, personally, the hospital and the state. There is also, too, something around the death itself to where that's like something that breaks off into maybe like another suit as well. Because, as you said, she was allowed no dignity.
None.
And so there's something around that, too. And there's an agenda around it, too. And so since you put forth an agenda, that then put the victim in a different kind of lawsuit or a different kind of space for a lawsuit. And so this gets complicated, I guess, which is why I don't have any legal cards. But in the end, the family will have some sort of, if you even want to call it that, some sort of closure or restitution or something that happens. But it gets complicated. Well, it's complicated now, but
Yeah.
they're going back and forth with the blame game for right now.
Think about this. If you were to get into a car accident or have a stroke tomorrow or an aneurysm or the garden hose attacks you and you die tomorrow, if you did not give them authority to harvest your organs, it is legal for them to do so. Period. End of. So explain it to me like I'm a moron, how that poor woman had it written on paper with a freaking lawyer and her signature saying, if anything happens, do not resuscitate. And the state said, yeah, well, you're pregnant, so joke's on you. You know, like, I don't understand it. It's, I get that it's going to be a very difficult road going forward. A lot of burdensome and painful fighting. Also, perhaps religious institutions that are being criticized. Because this goes beyond, way the fuck beyond anything that's in the Bible. If your belief dictates that you have to make sure people suffer while they're here, it's time to check your affiliation. Big time. You know, so I'm sorry I went there, you guys. I didn't know if a lot of people were aware of it. I no longer have mainstream media news, so I don't even know if it's being covered in the media.
A little bit.
It should be huge.
Until yesterday.
It should be fucking. And how did they report it? Oh, a dead brain woman gave birth. You can't give. Stop. You can't be brain dead and give birth at the same time. You are dead, kaput, done. You know, I can't with this shit, dude. So
my little dictator showed up for belly rubs.
So right, the Square Peg posted a question on the community page for Sunday. You want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Square Peg. What the actual hell is going on? That's it. That's my question.
That sounds like Square Peg.
Oh my God. Yeah, what the hell is going on? You know what though, Johnny? I saw that there's an article that just came out that they think that we're inside of a black hole. I'm like, it makes perfect sense. It explains everything.
That the whole universe is inside of a black hole.
So we're all right now inside of a black hole.
That's what they think.
It makes sense why this is hell. We're living in hell because we're in a black hole.
I've always thought that we're inside of something. The whole thing, when you look up that all that blackness is a thing. It's a thing. So, I can't explain it. But.
So if we're inside of a black hole and everything that we see with telescopes and all that other stuff is also in a black hole?
I guess so. Mind you, when science says anything, somebody reports it. but the reason they report it is because it's interesting. But they have no data. It's just a thought somebody had, and then they made an article out of it. So we got some work to do still. But
the irony, I was watching somebody on YouTube the other day, and the irony is that, you know, all these religious fanatics, like, oh, this is Revelations, this is end of days, you know, blah, 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 and like trying to force the end of days, trying to force World War III, and waiting for the rapture. And it's like, what they forget, these MAGA people, is you have to be kind to those who don't have as much, and you have to be helpful and everything in order to get raptured.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. And
like, if you're cruel, you don't get to go up.
These lunatics, I understand what you're saying. I understand, because that's what Jesus taught. To love thy neighbor, treat other people as if it was yourself, treat others how you would like. You don't need to know the 10 fucking commandments and everything in the Bible other than treat others as you would have them treat you. In other words, don't be a fucking asshole. You know, but these religious fanatics somehow believe, okay, we're going to force this war, this end of times. We're going to force Jesus' second coming because we are narcissistic and self-important enough to think that we can force God's hand. That's how fucking important we are.
You're taking control from God too. That's a true narcissist.
That's what I'm saying. We're going to force his hand. We're going to control it on our timeline. Well, I have news for you. Go to fucking Israel. Go stand outside and wait. Go wait for fucking Jesus, because it ain't coming to Alabama and it ain't coming to fucking Mississippi and South Carolina. Go to Israel right now like this, with your mouth open, and hopefully you'll have a bomb dropped on your head.
Take your little yams with you.
Oh my God, I can't with these fucking people, dude. I can't.
So what's your question, Becca?
I lost track. So what the actual hell is going, what the actual hell is going on? What the actual hell is going on? That's the question. That's it. That's square peg. She wants to know what the actual hell is going on. And I saw
learn from history. We're
that said that we were in a simulation, and I was like, "That's funny," because Johnny and I were just having that conversation last week. Johnny was like,
"Learn from history. We're doomed to repeat it."
I don't believe in free will.
We've been repeating it.
8 of Wands, there is talking. 5 of Wands, there is fighting. 9 of Pentacles, over security, money and things, power, greed. This is what causes every conflict there's ever been in the history of mankind, is you want something somebody else has and you're trying to take it. Or you don't want to give up something that you're not supposed to have, like slaves. This can also be looked at 8 of Wands, missiles, 5 of Wands, fight, 9 of Wands, or 9 of Pentacles, security. So I think the next story, possibly to make the rounds, is trying to secure something, or to make sure something is secured against an attack somewhere. Just remember, let me say this, okay? Just remember, Iran, if you're listening, we are not Donald Trump.
We didn't vote for him. He stole the.
Find him. We are not Donald Trump.
Iran, we didn't vote for him. He stole it. Go to Mar-a-Lago or 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
While things were being lined up in the military, where was he? Bedminster playing golf. So, corruption, ego, everything the devil stands for me. It's greed, envy, 7 deadly sins. Try to temper our fears, because they are testing our fears, and we have knowledge. If we go within, if we think about it, we have knowledge of how to temper this. But it's all this greed and foolishness and thievery and like-minded people. This is an opportunity for you to change. This is an opportunity for you to get a different perspective, and use some of those tools in the tool belt. Quit being manipulated. Reject the manipulations. The truth comes out. We if you listen, the truth comes out. But it's an opportunity for getting a new perspective, and it's an opportunity for growth. That's it. Square peg.
Opportunity, chit chat, discussion, man, widespread success, and news that comes out of him. Fame and celebrity for a woman that's in law, and something was taken from her, but the answer comes out here. Okay. An opportunity for fame, a lot of discussions in government or in the courts, a man that has dominion and power over a woman, something that was widespread and successful was eaten away at and taken away, the delivery of answers. An opportunity here, an important, significant opportunity, and news coming out about fame and celebrity. There's the win for the woman. The news comes out that way. Conversations about something that was stolen with these two. Okay. And also a lot of conversations and chit chat and gossip with a lot of, this is nervousness and this is anxiety. Okay. So, a lot of conversations that people are having right now where there's just this energy of being an anxious, nervous wreck, because this man himself is not stable with these two. He has this sitting close and he's touching this. It's close. This person is not stable. When this happens, I don't know. The fall is when they go into discovery in New York. But here's calling the government, making phone calls to government, making phone calls to the law, hearings in court, hearings in the law, hearings in bureaucracy. Also conversations about isolationism, which he's put us in a terrible position. Absolutely terrible position. None of our allies, nobody on the world stage, even the dictators, have any respect for him. They see him as a 2-bit showman clown, old yam tits. The only people that are falling for it are the morons that spend $45 on a red hat made in China. Okay? We are not in a good position at all. At all. So
and now he's alienated like Russia, who was helping Iran, and China, who gets all their oil from Iran.
Here's the thing. I noticed when I was watching Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz and all these podcasters and stuff, this all comes down to politicians that Israel is funding and politicians that Russia is funding. Because at the end of the day, let's not forget, and let's not whitewash it, an enemy of my enemy is my friend bullshit with these people, because those people will still stab you in your face while they're facing you. Tucker Carlson is on Russia's fucking payroll.
He went there grocery shopping with this little grocery cart. Oh, look, you can have grocery carts. We don't have those in America. It tells you the last time that man ever stepped foot in a grocery store. Okay. Ted Cruz is funded by freaking Israel. So it all comes down to what foreign government is funding who. But we're not in a good position. So, I mean, I don't want to be an alarmist, but I'm telling y'all, fill up your gas tanks and try not to go anywhere. And he's already screwed up the travel industry here. We've lost how many billion already in travel? Billions in travel already.
12 billion so far the last time I checked, I think it was.
And people afraid to come here because they're afraid they'll get shipped to El Salvador.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm just saying. People are asking what's going to happen to us now that we've bombed Iran, and I don't know if you guys want to read on that.
I want to ask, will we
I'll stay out of it. I can't go there. I can't go there with this. So
yeah, we know we're going to be at a higher risk of domestic terrorism here in the U.S.
Well,
I just want to ask, like, are we going to have anything happen on our own soil?
Pump the brakes for a minute. Pump the brakes. I don't like this conversation of domestic terrorism, and it's going to be heightened. We have been under almost going on 10 years with domestic terrorism, and they're white. And they're fucking a bunch of goddamn racist motherfuckers. So I don't.
ICE is domestic terrorism to me too. So okay, so let me think how to rephrase the question.
Yeah, just rephrase it, please, because I understand what you're saying, but
a terrorist act on our own soil or an attack, like firing a missile at us. Are we under a greater, or will we have? And ask it that.
And mind you, him and Doge thought it would be a fantastic idea to gut everything. Everything got gutted. I've been telling you for months they're purposefully leaving us sitting ducks. I've been telling you that for months, Jen, and here we are.
He doesn't look at intel or anything, and lover or hater, Tulsi Gabbard said they're not even close to creating a nuclear bomb.
Nope.
Just 90 days ago in March. He doesn't learn.
He's being led by the nose by Bibi Netanyahu. And those two made a deal. When he was running for president the second time.
Yeah, you had him down at Mar-a-Lago.
This is the fruit of the labors of that deal that him and Bibi Netanyahu made. I've been telling you guys that for months.
Anxiety coming together, a power play, manipulating something for power, delivering a message. I get a big yes. This isn't over. They're going to want to try to stand on higher ground. So, burdening Trump and America. Bad news. This isn't going to go well.
Yes. When I said that in that live stream, that there will be, I just don't know where and when and all that type of stuff. But it's a building of some sort that is supposed to be secure. That doesn't necessarily mean the White House. It could be an army base. Mind you, when I was in Florida, there was an attack at the army base by Saudi Arabian soldiers that they were training, mind you. There was a shooting there. And so it could be kind of the same thing, because this is the lover's card. That sounds like someone that's on your side or someone that's already here. I don't get the betrayal card, but I do get the devil card. So this could be something where they know it, and it's a chain of events. But I'll just say yes to answer the question.
You know what I've struggled with, and I don't know how to ask a question about it, is like, okay, he's been kowtowing to Putin all these years, and now siding with Netanyahu is kind of going against.
He promised two different people two different things and was too stupid to realize that those two people have diametrically opposed views. Okay? He promised Putin, hey, if you help me, I'll let you take Ukraine. I'll make a deal and I'll help you take Ukraine. And then he promised Netanyahu, hey, if you don't take the ceasefire with Gaza and do my bidding when I get into office, I'll let you do whatever the fuck you want to Iran and I'll help you out. Okay? That's how fucking stupid
he's transactional. So he's
transactional, and he does
because he never has a plan for the future.
No, he has concepts of a plan.
Yeah.
He said it himself. He has concepts of a plan. This man promises the moon and the stars to everybody until it's time to pay up, and then he sees himself backed into a corner because he promised more than what he could deliver. You know, and let me remind you, Netanyahu has made some very thinly veiled threats to Donald Trump the last few days.
Well,
you didn't see that.
You know, after his reaction to being called taco, Trump always chickens out. I took this as he's trying to show how strong he is because he hates that name taco. It's another narcissistic thing that he's trying to show. Oh no, I don't chicken out. I'm strong. I'm this. I'm that.
I'm such a badass. I'm gonna go drop bombs and miss all the targets. Ha ha ha! Look at me. Like, I mean, somebody just back to the mud already. So I don't know if you guys want, I can't talk about it. You guys feel free to. I'll just mute myself. I don't know if you had other questions on that. People were asking if we're safe, that I can't talk on that on this platform. So if you guys want to, go ahead. But I can't.
Maybe we should look at, like, is this going to blow up on a huge scale like World War III? Is this going to quietly get worked out, or maybe not so quietly?
In order for it to be World War III, all the other countries would have to jump in. China would have to jump in. Pakistan would have to jump in. Russia has his hands tied right now because it's getting his ass kicked in the Ukraine. So that would be spreading themselves thin. Yeah. Pakistan is in the middle of a war with India. So I don't know how that's going to work. You know,
Japan has already announced.
North Korea would have to jump in, you know, so
Japan is not doing any business with any country that's in support of the U.S. right now because of Trump. Sending a loud message.
Are we great yet? Are we great yet, you guys? Are we great yet? Ooh, I can't wait till all the food's rotting in the fields and we can't even get food.
Will it get worse? Yes, of course it will, because you still have, and you can take away Donald Trump. You still have to take away the people who enabled him to do this in the first place. We have laws. We don't need to create new ones. We have checks and balances. We don't need to create new ones. We have to enforce the stuff that's already there. I said this already. I mean, everybody has. Everybody knew it anyway. Will we go into a conflict? Of course we will. Well, he can't start a war without Congress. Yes, he can. And so we have the Five of Wands as the first card. There's your conflict. The Two of Swords is a decision. So a decision that some don't want to make, but some have to. It is not that hard to get into conflict. Not when the people in charge don't have rationale. Mind you, we're not supposed to be like the animals to where we fight over every little thing. We're supposed to be the ones that have the logic and the reason. And then there's the sun and the moon hides things, the sun exposes things. And so some people will have a self-serving agenda, and that's how they get into the conflict. If you're going to support the Ukraine like the UK is, then there's their conflict. If you're going to support India, if you're going to support Gaza, if you are going to support someone, then you're going to be in that conflict. But with the US, since he has worked very hard at alienating us, if we're going to get into a conflict, we're probably going to do it by ourselves. And so, yes, it gets worse, but I don't see wide-scale nukes flying everywhere. But at the very same time, the people at the top are supposed to have the rationale.
And to your point, Johnny, he has done so much that he does not have the authority to do. Tariffs. He didn't have the right to do that. That was Congress. What did he say? Go fuck yourself, Congress. I'm going to do whatever I want. And I'm going to ping pong the stock market so all my billionaire buddies can buy everything cheap. Oh, and also people in office like Marjorie Taylor Greene and a whole bunch of other people that got busted with their hand in the cookie jar buying a bunch of stuff when he crashed the market.
She had no
shit that he does not have the constitutional authority to do, but Congress has basically rolled over and said, we know
sending the military to California. None of that did he have any legal right to do.
We know that we can't hold a constitutional convention, so we're just going to write another bill and make you king. To Johnny's point, you don't need to keep writing laws when it's already fucking there. All you have to do is enforce it. That's all you have to do. That's all you got to do.
I get we're secure, and this is strange. It's giving me something else. Because I get like the emperor over the female offering something up that shows manipulation and burdening the woman, illumination on that, returning to something that happened a while ago, shifting votes around. That coming to light, I think, will take him out more than, shame on them, than bombing somebody. That may be what takes him out when the truth, the lies about the election, everything comes out. Maybe the thing that takes him out over illegally trying to start a war. So that shifts everybody's judgment, and I get good news, and things get like slow and steady again. So I don't get the Tower card. I don't get like major bombings and stuff. I get illumination on what happened with the election.
And I'm gonna end all the wars within 24 hours. Here we are, 6 months into his presidency. The war with Ukraine and Russia is still going. Now he drug us into a new one, and he's begging like a fucking bitch for Russia to call Israel and make a deal. Why would Russia go and talk to Israel and make a deal? Trump, why? You want us all to you want all the dictators to hold hand and sing Kumbaya? Like, I don't, the great deal maker can't make a deal to save his fucking life. He has never been a businessman. He only cosplayed one on television. This man is a fucking joke. He's a walking, talking, breathing insult to organized crime because he is so fucking incompetent. Like, and like you said, Jen, this government is under a coup d'etat right now. He subverted the will of the people again.
Yep.
Again.
It's not popular.
Nope.
He got in by falsities. Nobody is behind this regime. Nobody's behind one single thing that they've done in the majority of the U.S. Yeah, nope. We got some ICE people. We got some white supremacists.
The only people that I have seen, mind you, I don't have the media anymore because it's all sensationalized bullshit. And I got so pissed off the other day. I watched a clip on YouTube from Morning Joe. And they're just foaming at the mouth to go to this fucking war. And I'm like, Joe Scarborough and Mika, get booted up and suited up, motherfuckers, and go over there. If you're that anxious, if you're that fucking kumbaya and happy to go to war, volunteer yourselves.
If we didn't outnumber MAGA at like No Kings protests, you would have seen a lot more of the white supremacists coming out and the MAGA people coming out. It was handfuls. You had thousands of people and a handful in Atlanta and a handful here. It's always just a handful. It's not like they know when we're protesting. We put it out there. They could be out there in masses, protesting against us. They're not there. They don't have the numbers.
Because, like I said, bots have a very, very, very very real problem of coming outside of the internet and outside of social media spaces, because they're not real people. It's all made up. It's smoke and mirrors, like everything else that Trump does. It's all theatrics and optics. That's all it is. It's not real, you know? So I don't know if you guys have any more Israel conflict.
If you're going to watch MSNBC, don't miss Rachel Maddow on Monday nights. She's been calling him a dictator since day one. You know, she is calling him out. Lawrence O'Donnell is calling him for what he is, the biggest idiot ever, and why aren't the GOP stepping up? He's like appalled.
This is what happens when Congress...
Those are the only two people I watch on MSNBC.
This is what happens when you have a Congress that does not work. And it's not working by choice. This is a choice. It is a choice by the Congress people in leadership positions, and also people that fall under that leadership, because they could just easily go and say, you know what, Moses, go fuck yourself, get fucked. We're vacating your chair and we're bringing in articles of impeachment. And then when it gets to the Senate, Chuck Schumer, take a seat, stop with your strongly worded letters. We're convicting this motherfucker.
They could have easily, in some of the races, called for a full recount too. Back in the fall, because we were in control back in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
So, Johnny, did you have any other questions about what's going on? Want to ask it a different way? I
will take this, though, as a public service announcement, that it is worrying, it's concerning, it's all of that. I'm not going to tell you try not to think about it, because you can't. But at the same time, don't consume all your energy with fear and anxiety, because that doesn't help you. And so you do need to balance some things out. You can stay informed, but don't stay trapped in a bubble of anxiety. I understand what's going on in the world, because it's happening to everybody at the same time. But
and we're all going to feel it. All of us.
Don't trap yourself in a bubble of anxiety. If you need to break away from whatever you're looking at, break away from it and go watch something that has nothing to do with conflicts and stupid men trying to wag their whatchamacallits at each other. So
I got a couple other questions.
And I'm basically desensitized to all this, because I've already been here, done that, and I was deployed because of this bullshit. So it's like, okay, whatever. I've seen this before. You know, so I'm desensitized to it at that point. I'm not running around scared. Oh my God, they're going to drop a nuke on our heads. I'm not going there, you know, but like Johnny said, if it's freaking you the fuck out, turn it off. Even if it bothers you to come here on Sundays, tune me out too. You know, your mental health is priority, because you're not effective, kind of like in the plane. Put your own mask on before you try to help the person next to you. You can't be productive when you're paralyzed with fear. And that's how they want you. Paralyzed with fear.
Put your fear into action, make it work for you. So if you did not protest on No King's Day, get your butt out there July 4th and July 17th.
Get on the phone, call Congress people.
If you did protest, find one or two other people to take with you next time. Make the crowds twice as big. Keep getting it bigger and bigger, because they can't suppress all of us. Keep making it bigger. So put your fear into action. Use it to motivate you.
And if you can't get out to protest because, you know, you have mobility issues or you're too far, whatever, you have the internet, you have your phone, write emails. Call your representative, call other representatives.
Yep.
There's
Moses Mike every day. Call him every freaking day.
Every day. Don't make threats, because that's how the popo shows up at your house. Okay. But there's you don't have to be there physically and in person if you can't. If you're, because of everything that's going on and you're afraid that there's going to be riots and violence, stay home and make phone calls. There's plenty that you can do, you know, so, and don't let them cower you into a corner. Don't.
I got a question that kind of off subject. George Clooney, finally, his Jim Jordan documentary released on HBO, I believe it was, on Ohio State and what went on. And oh my God, does it slam Jim Jordan from what I've been reading. I don't have HBO, so I haven't seen it yet. If y'all have seen it, let me know how it was in the chat. But Jim Jordan's very quiet right now. I'd like to know, how people in Ohio that keeps electing him are viewing this in general.
I am convinced, just like every other state that's Republican held, that motherfucker didn't win. They keep fixing the numbers because there's no way Ted Cruz won. There is no way that the crooked eye down there, the attorney general, what's his name? Ken Paxton, is that his name? There's no way he won. There's no way Hot Wheels won. You cannot convince me. These people don't have the numbers, but anyways.
How are people in Ohio that, like, I wish, like, besides just putting it on HBO, I hope George Clooney releases it, like, for free in Ohio, so every person in Ohio can see this piece of crap. Because he knew everything all the way through, according to the articles I've been reading on the documentary.
He's such a disgusting piece of shit, dude. And what's the other disgusting piece of shit? That guy, the J.D. Vance funder, what's his name? Peter Thiel, who's openly gay. Openly gay.
But doesn't want women to have the rights to vote.
Or have bodily autonomy. You ain't gonna stick your dick in us anyways. Why the hell do you care? Like, it's just, make it make sense, Jen. Make it make sense.
Because he's a man first before he's gay. Chauvinistic.
A chauvinistic, openly gay man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just, and I am so happy that Bruce Jenner is stuck in Israel right now. Bruce Jenner. I'm not saying Caitlyn Jenner. Bruce Jenner is stuck in Israel right now. Enjoy your vacation, bitch.
So say, beware the mangoes, it's full of bombs. The Knight of Pentacles, I don't think I shouldn't say no one's going to care. The usual suspects are going to care, and then the usual suspects are not, because you have to want information other than the echo chambers information to even watch this. If you've seen some documentary about Ohio State or documentary about Jim Jordan or whatever the case may be, you have to be interested in that kind of entertainment. You have to be interested in that kind of information. It would be just like a Fox News viewer going to watch Rachel Maddow because they want a different opinion. There's 9 of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles. It has trouble penetrating the different audience. Not impossible, though, because there's the Ace of Wands and the 3 of Pentacles. It starts a conversation, and so that's good at least, but I don't see it making some big giant waves and, changing the landscape of the state. But again, you have to care about it in order to watch it in the first place. So it's not like they're going to have some big giant 90% Republican audience or anything like that. And I still think George Clooney can go to hell anyway, but that's just me.
I'm thrilled they did get this documentary out, though, because I get they're taking this in, and that this, while Jordan was working, this was going on for a long time. So it's not just Ohio. I'm getting, like, America, seeing that he's trying to get to higher grounds in the Republican Party and manipulating the story of what went on here. So he's constantly, like, saying things for the school or whoever. He's covering up is what he's doing. So the cover up is very, very obvious. I get here soon, like there's like a massive fight breaking out over his districts. So wouldn't surprise me if, unless they fix it, that they didn't do some kind of massive thing to get him out of office. as long as it's not manipulated. So,
hold on. I get that. Yeah, the show is out, but it didn't reach the people that it was supposed to reach. The people that could most benefit aren't seeing it. So
he's release it to a wider audience there.
Yeah, it's just the show itself, the documentary or whatever, it is successful. But like Johnny said, George Clooney can go suck it. Anyways, the show itself is successful. The audience that would have benefited from seeing it did not see it. And if they were to see it, they would just say this is propaganda funded by George Soros, the favorite boogeyman. Like, so very successful, highly super rich person in charge of a party. So they would just excuse it. Like the evidence against Donald Trump. How much more fucking evidence do you need? No, that's not true. That's George Soros. So whatever. I want to say thank you to Judy, I think it was. Hold on. Yeah, Judy. Thank you so much for the super chat.
So we have a Russian in the White House handling HR, human resources, and screening anybody hired into the White House. Going by the last name Gore, I forget what his real name is. Said he was from Malta, but he's actually from Russia. Hasn't done any security clearance. Worked for one time for Rand Paul, which I found interesting because Rand Paul delivered the letter to Putin for Trump back in his first term.
The carrier pigeon. The carrier pigeon.
Yeah, the carrier pigeon. I want to know if it will come out whether while Trump's in office or later that he's a Russian asset.
It's already coming out now. I'm going to set this one out because it's already coming out now that he's a Russian asset.
Like, will he face legal issues, I guess, is the way I want to look at it. Will Gore, whatever his last name is.
That's right. He can kick rocks with open-toed shoes and then trip on him and fall on his ass.
No, not really. Donald Trump's a Russian asset. What happened to him? There is no. I get this. The Knight of Pentacles. This is a gig, so he'll be gone eventually. The Seven of Wands. There's defending. The Nine of Pentacles. That's secure. The Nine of Cups. This is wishes and desires. What he wants. Ace of Pentacles. It's an opportunity. Seven of Pentacles. An investment. The word of warning is magician. For some reason, though, the effectiveness of this person is not quite there. So whatever it is they're trying to do, they're not actually accomplishing all or most, even because the word of solace is the Five of Cups. So there's a regret here. So God answers all prayers, sometimes answers no. So something's going wrong there, and the reading ends in the Two of Swords. And so there's something wrong with the achievement part. All the opportunity in the world is there, but whatever it is he was sent there to do, he ain't doing. Or ain't doing well.
Is he? So he's like that kid with the grocery store bagger person.
He's like Trump. You sent to do a job and you can't even do
it. He got his wealth rather quickly too. He, became like an oligarch and bought a $7 million mansion down the street from Mar-a-Lago rather quickly. He's been protected for a long, long time by oligarchs here that are here in America. So I do get later he's going to have some legal action taken against him, but I don't think it's for what he did in the White House. I think it's something business related, maybe money laundering, shifting money around or something. He might have shifted some money back to Russia, and there might be a whistleblower on it, but there's something that's going to be looked into that he's done with money.
So I saw in the chat that Iranian parliament is saying that they're going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Are they going to shut it down? Can we look? I told you all, when this show is over, go to your gas station and pump. And try not to go anywhere because it's about to And wait till the stock market opens up tomorrow. If you have anything left in your 401k, you might want to kiss it goodbye. And that they were reporting that that's part of the reason why he did it on the weekend, so that he can have a couple of days respite before the stock market opens, before the markets open on Monday. Yeah.
Because he knows it's going to impact it.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
He's so stupid. I mean, he thinks he can be the next head of the Federal Reserve.
I'm going to strike them on a Saturday, and by the time the markets open on Monday, it should be fine. That's not how any of this works, you fucking moron. It's the same mentality of, remember when the cruise ship had all those people with COVID and he didn't want them to come to port? Like hiding the numbers. He didn't want the numbers to go up. It's the same mentality. Well, if I don't look at it, then it's not real. It's not happening. Tapar el sol con un dedo. That's all it is.
Yes, and they're looking at other options they could impact also.
Hold on, let me see. What a freaking maroon. Yeah, they're gonna close it. And it's gonna be closed for a while. It's gonna be closed for a while.
And then who's got the leverage in negotiations when we're
OPEC
having gas shortages in the world?
Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Kristi Noem. These are the people that all of this is sitting on the shoulder of.
And you know what's freaking hilarious? Out of all those people you just named, there's only one that's even semi-qualified. And I'm using that term very loosely, is Marco Rubio. Because you have a former Fox News host, a Russian asset, a dog killer, she was recently questioned by Congress and she didn't know the answer to something. I forget what it was. I mean, it's just like these are people that were rejected from central casting, and he found on Craigslist and just plopped them into fucking government. That's all he did. Like, I can't.
Musk got sued by the NAACP.
Oh, good for him. I love that. Oh, habeas corpus. Yeah, she didn't know what habeas corpus was. And it turns out she was in the hospital, you guys.
Oh, can we look at, was it really an allergic reaction? Because she was in a lot longer than somebody that has an allergic.
They were reporting that she went to some biohazard lab with RFK Jr. Bad idea. I mean, that's the start of a bad joke. Like, that's the start of a bad joke. A dog
going to dinner with him.
A dog killer and a
ringworm went to a biolab.
She kills it, he eats it. Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, he was already contaminated from the freaky swam in with the excrement. So
she went to a lab with him.
That's what they were saying, that she went to a biohazardous lab with him, and then she had an allergic reaction.
It didn't wear a hazmat suit or anything.
I mean, why not? You can just eat roadkill and you'll be fine. And
what was the purpose of her going there?
Photo up.
I mean, people were saying that it was like her lip fillers blowing up, an allergic reaction to the truth.
Did her breast implant fail? Come on, let's look at the kidneys.
I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, but she was allegedly, it was Kristi Noem that got taken to the hospital in an ambulance for having an allergic reaction. So can we start with, did Kristi Noem go to the hospital?
I'm going to ask, did she have an allergic reaction?
Was Kristi Noem hospitalized recently for an allergic reaction?
I'm trying to remember in those war room photos if she was in it. I know Tulsi wasn't. I can't remember seeing Kristi Noem in there.
So was Kristi Noem recently hospitalized for an allergic reaction. No. Her fake boob exploded. I've seen stuff like her lip fillers blew up. Her Botox melted. She was allergic to the truth. She got allergic to sympathy and compassion.
Could be her kidney implants, as we call her, fake boobs. No, she's in trouble because she was getting too much attention for, not finishing the job with ICE, because they weren't hitting their quotas and stuff. So I think she decided, I'm going to have a little spa day or something. I'm going to go somewhere and try to get my head together here. So whatever she was doing, she was working on her image. She was not working on her health.
Was she hospitalized for an allergic reaction? I get to know. 9 of Swords Tower. Sometimes I think with these Republican people, like, am I skewing always to the negative because it's them? Like, I'm always doubting everything. 9 of Swords Towers, no. But at the same time, you think, why do they live a life where all of my cards are like, yeah, this is the craziest son of a bitch we've ever seen. Everything's bad. Everything's horrible. Yes, that's a bad card. It looks like a good card, but it's a bad card anyway. But no, I don't get allergic reaction.
We're talking about a man who likes to boast about everything and somehow got his ear shot off and it grew back and he hasn't mentioned it since.
You think he would?
Okay, so when your cards are like, we're supposed to be good, but we're going to be really, really bad this time, listen to the cards. Like, take into consideration the cast of characters that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
I get an abundance of servers. Abundant. Electronic technology in a box.
Boxes.
And a bunch of them.
Maybe she was meeting with Musk.
And I wouldn't put it past him after that horrendous performance and all the shit that's going on with ICE. Oh, let me play the victim card and work on people's sympathy because everybody is a nice person. I'm just a psychopathic asshole. That look at what Trump did. Wanted sympathy, so he staged his own assassination attempt and never once mentioned it again, even though people died. Never mentioned.
And bearing in mind, those people are not ICE. Those are randos. That's why their masks have their faces covered, because you could probably just do a little Google image search and find out, oh, that's Jake from State Farm instead of some ICE agent.
Yeah. And she said under oath that a lot of the people that they hired were January 6 people that they pardoned.
Just random people.
Just random people with no training. And there was just that incident with the guy that killed the lawmakers in Minnesota. How long before we start hearing about all these cases where people were just randomly picked up off the street in an unmarked vehicle with no name and no identification, playing ICE, impersonating ICE, and snatching people off the street because Pam Bondi gave them the go-ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Against your constitutional rights, gave them the go-ahead. So how
To
soon
me, they're doing is kidnapping because they don't produce warrants, they don't identify themselves, they don't have badges, they don't have any proof. So to me, it's just kidnapping. So
yeah, they're just...
To me, it's like, let's start ganging up around people, protecting them from being kidnapped.
And like I said, how soon before we start hearing all these horror stories of random people getting snatched up off the street because Pam Bondi said, this is a great idea, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, there's already been one case of somebody impersonating ICE and trying to rob a woman.
And doing God knows what with them. but hey. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight, y'all. I'm sorry I was in a mood. I'm just tired, and that whole story with Adriana Smith just infuriates me. It infuriates me, and I my heart goes out to their family, to her family. I'm not one that's much for praying, but if you guys are and you have it in your heart,
say a prayer for her
say a
and her
prayer
family.
for her and her family and baby Chance. It's unimaginable what they've done, and it just, remember those head movies we were talking about, Johnny, last week, and I was telling you mine were all about justice. This is the top of my list. Like, I would seriously kill all these motherfuckers, and not even blink an eye, because it's just beyond, it goes beyond any excuse, so yeah. Anyhow, that's all I got. Next week will be on Mr. Johnny's channel down here. This guy, this little man right here.
His cute red glasses.
The news then.
And I want to say thank you to the people that started the book club with Mr. Johnny, because he's been reading books, and I'm very proud for him and happy for him. And
well, I guess I got to read the next one too. Then. I've been trying to read the one we're reading, and I fell asleep twice.
I tried. I read some of it at the baseball game yesterday, but I was distracted because I was at the baseball game, so I had my headphones on, listening to the audiobook while reading it to try to concentrate, and it was just.
And shout out to the Dodgers. They donated $1 million to something to do with immigrants.
To help immigrants that are getting taken by ICE.
Because the fans jumped on their asses. That's why. It wasn't, oh, we're going to do this out of the kindness. No, it was because the fans demanded they do something. Yep.
Videos are coming out too of police that are in solidarity with the protesters too. So watch those. There was one video I saw in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the police took a knee, gave a little heartfelt response to the protesters, and then got up and shook their hands.
Yeah, that was happening in Texas too, earlier on in Donald Trump's reign of terror.
So, like Johnny said, if you see that your mental health is suffering, shut that shit off. Shut it off. And this is not our first rodeo with this cruelty. Remember the first time when you guys were all losing your damn minds over the kids in cages. Short of you breaking in and helping these people, there's nothing that can be done. So there's no, it sounds horrible, but there's no sense in working yourself over something that is out of your control to fix. So
coloring books, they help.
Get you a cat dictator. Get you a cat or dog dictator. That's the only dictators we like. Right, Bella?
Get outside, get into some gardening. Just take care of your mental health. That's
be careful in the heat.
Yes.
Very important. And that's all I got for tonight. I'm going to take my own medicine and try not to think about this Adriana Smith thing, because I'm seeing red. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, everybody, for all the super chats. That's really greatly appreciated. And we'll see you next week at Mr. Johnny's down here. Take care, everybody.
Hey.
Oh, Johnny, how are the tomatoes doing?
Nice. I'll show you a picture. I can't show you right now because there's laundry everywhere and it looks bad, so I can't.
How they grow?
Johnny, I have to tell them about the reading I did in the after show. Was it last week?
Yeah,
I was asking
last Sunday.
because I believe you can talk to plants and get them to grow right. And I asked, what do Johnny's tomato plants think about Johnny? And they're afraid he's going to kill them.
Is that how big they are now?
Yes.
Oh, wow. So
I got 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks or a week and a half, something like that. 2 weeks, I think.
I got Johnny a hydroponic system, and he grew those tomato plants from seed, you guys, from seed. I'm so proud of him. So
we shall see.
I think you'll do fine. Like, you have to try really hard to kill a tomato.
I mean, I pulled the Tower and the Death card too, so I mean,
They're still worried, Johnny. Talk to them, encourage them.
no, they'll be all right. You either make it in this house or you don't.
And that's all we got, you guys. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.